Following podcast contains spoilers, adult language, tent in the trees, fake pregnant girl, bad people with masks. No, not those. These are new fake bad people with masks. Madison stealing babies, a family crypt.
Wait. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. See, did I hear you say Madison stealing babies?
Yes, I did. Sadly.
Man, look, I know we're done, but this still hurts.
It sure does.
You know, we might need some therapy after this.
Might?
This is a message from the Office of Emergency Preparedness. Due to the recent crisis, we ask that you remain in your homes. Do not attempt to communicate or interact with the creatures, even if they are people you know.
Lock your doors. Bar your windows. The dead are coming. It's time for Aim for the Head, an all Walking Dead universe podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Diana and Steve.
Hi, and welcome back to Aim for the Head podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm going to therapy.
And
I'm Steve, too.
And we did it, folks!
Oh, yeah. It's over. It's over. Don't gotta watch it.
Yeah, we're totally doing the Cabbage Patch now. Some, white man overbite.
Definitely.
And this week we are covering the finale for Fear the Walking Dead Season 7. This is podcast episode number 261, and we're discussing episode 16 of Season 7. The title of the episode is Gone. And let me tell you, I've never had a title of an episode tell me exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to be gone.
Oh, I know. It's just, yeah.
I mean, we could do quick thoughts, but honestly, I think this is the first episode of this season where I really, maybe when we're talking our points, I might come up with something or remember something, but I don't think there was anything redeeming about this episode. And I think that's what made it the worst. What about you? What were your quick thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Well, hey guys, you remember in episode 14 when I said, what are the chances that the next two episodes, at least one or maybe both, will be written by the Knuckleheads? What did we get?
You should have played the lottery, is what I'm saying.
I should have, because we got two Knucklehead episodes to finish off the season, and oh my God, it was. I think that there was a lot of stuff in this episode that we could definitely chalk up to the "wouldn't it be cool" list.
Yes.
Which kind of is like, doesn't really matter if it makes sense, doesn't really matter if it could even ever actually happen. It just, wouldn't it be cool? And so here we go.
Right.
And Madison coming back. I mean, why did they bother to even bring her back? It's not Madison. I mean, they should have cast somebody else and just made it a different name. I mean, it was not good. It was pretty awful. I found one sequence that I kind of liked. Mm-hmm. And it's near the end, and I kind of liked the what I dubbed the Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2 gang, which were all wearing the potato sacks and stuff.
Yes,
I thought that was kind of an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's like a costume design thing. That's not a writing or story thing. So yeah, this was it's just, I think it's like the episode, like the fitting end to this season. That this was the crap, the crap cherry we got to the crap sundae for the whole season. So, and when it was over, I just kept thinking, this was 16 hours of our lives that we will never get back.
More. It's more than that, because sometimes we watched it twice.
That's true.
And then we talked about it. So, double that at least, because we talked at least an hour about each episode, so it's 32, plus if we watch it more than once.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's like 50 hours of our lives we'll never get back.
And we're not getting any younger, Steve.
I know.
I don't know if you've
I keep
noticed.
checking, and it doesn't. The clock keeps going the other way.
Oh no! Damn it! It's killing me. Literally. So.
Literally.
So let's move on to talk about the episode itself. As loath as we are, we do have to do that. And before we get into the finer and fancy points of this episode, let's first start off with an episode description. Steve, that's your corner.
All right. Absolutely. So guys, last week, the episode description was a little sparse. I'm not going to lie to you. Last week, the fact that my future Australian ex-wife had left the show, and it was not a very good leaving, I was really not very inspired. But I tried to make up for it this week. So hopefully you will enjoy this. So without further ado, this week's episode description is being brought to you by...
Has watching Fear the Walking Dead left you gasping for air?
I can't breathe. Show so stupid.
Is the terrible character swings and illogical plot holes taking your breath away?
That's not how nuclear fallout works.
Are you literally choking on every ridiculous, stupid, and boring moment?
So Strand likes Alicia now.
Then why not try Madison Clark's Breathe Right Air Mask and make the awful experience of watching Fear the Walking Dead turn into something magical. This incredible breakthrough in fear-watching technology can turn your average suicidal fear watcher into someone who enjoys staring at their hand. And it's so simple to use. Once the episode of Fear the Walking Dead has started, just put on the mask, turn on the gas, and breathe deeply. After a few moments, you won't care how awful the episode is, 'cause you'll be tripping balls. But what's that? The episode is written by the Knuckleheads? It's even more stupid and ridiculous and boring than usual? Well, Madison Clark has you covered with our special Knucklehead numbing gas, guaranteed to make the crappiest Knucklehead episode seem like it was written by Shakespeare. Wow, this episode is really well written. No plot holes or stupid character development at all. I am so high right now. So order now and you'll receive Madison Clark's Breathe Right Air Mask, a season's worth supply of Happy Gas, and some of our patented Knucklehead numbing gas. But wait, there's more. Orders received in the next 15 minutes will also receive a special What Happened to Madison brain stick. Whenever you can't stop thinking about where Madison has been and how she escaped the stadium fire, simply insert the What Happened to Madison's brain stick into your nose until it touches your brain. Then turn the stick until those thoughts leave your head. You'll be ready to enjoy the return of Madison Clark in no time. So don't delay, order now. Get yourself Madison Clark's Breathe Right Air Mask today, and Fear the Walking Dead will start to get better tomorrow.
Operators are standing by on walkie-talkies, which we all know have unlimited range in Delaware, Texas.
Ooh, I can't wait to get one. Are you going to get one? I'm going to get one.
Not only am I going to get one, but I'm going to spend the rest of the episode talking like this. And we are going to
How do you
buy
think that
this
went
thing.
there?
Aha.
Tell me, Dee, what'd you think of the episode?
Well, now.
Listen up, see? We're now 1920s radio announcers, because they all talk like this. Yes.
I want to tell you about this big stinking pile of crap.
Oh, my goodness.
crap.
It was so bad.
Anyway, speaking of bad, let's get to the episode description and actually discuss the steaming pile of poop.
Of caca. All right, so this was episode 7.16, and the title is Gone. And AMC's description is, Morgan finds a new ally who turns out to be more trouble than he bargained for. And that is your episode description.
All right, so as always, let's talk who's at fault here. So writer-director, who are we, who are we pillarizing?
Right. Who are we going after? Well, again, this segment we have now nicknamed. It is now officially known as Who's Responsible for This?
Yes.
And again, just like last week, the writers for this episode are the Knuckleheads. Yes, Andrew and Ian Knucklehead. And yeah, it's what one of the things that just I was thinking about today, just about, not to go off on a total tangent here at this moment, is that did you notice that like almost every episode of this block was bottle episodes? Almost every one had 2 characters in it at most, 3 maybe.
Yeah, I mean it did.
And
it's a shame because, like we've said before, that in the episodes that actually had some redeeming qualities, like in the past, for the Knuckleheads, it was usually the 2 or 3 handers were usually a little bit better. When they didn't have a million characters to write for, they only had like 2 or 3. They focused a little better, and we got a little more meat on the bone. Not the case with this part of the season.
No, I mean that was the thing. It's like it was almost all, quote unquote bottle episodes. All of these sort of what we would have considered a change of pace episode with 1 or 2 people, lots of talky, lots of sitting around, and almost all of them were horribly bad. And it was just weird because, like you said, that was kind of the one thing that the Knuckleheads showed that they kind of maybe knew how to do, and they couldn't do that even this year. And they tried basically every episode. I mean, there's maybe 1 or 2 episodes in there where they had multiple storylines going. I mean, if you notice, we didn't see anything of all the people in the rafts.
No.
Right? I mean, there's nothing. This was a total Morgan bottle episode where he runs into Madison, and like I said earlier, why did they bring Madison back? It should have been a new character based on who she was. But anyway. The Knuckleheads wrote this. It's their fault. They're responsible. We all know what they've done. We all know what they should answer for. We all know that they obviously can't go back to Canada because they'll be arrested. And moving on from that, the director is this guy named Sharat Raju, and that the name sounds familiar. We have mentioned him before. He has directed. He's done 3 episodes of the main show. He directed 1013, which was entitled "What We Become." And that is the Virgil on the Island episode where Michonne trips balls.
Yes.
If you remember that one.
I do.
Okay, that one was okay. I kind of like that one. Then he, in season 11, he directed 2 episodes. He directed 11-7, which is Promises Broken, which is the Reaper's storyline, and it's the one where Negan teaches Maggie, not Maggie. Negan teaches Maggie to be a whisperer. If you remember, she puts the mask on, and he kind of teaches her how to do it. And the other subplot was Daryl was hooked up with the Reaper guys, and he and Leah find that guy, and his wife is like critically injured, and he has a son, and
yes.
Daryl lets the guy go, and then they end up killing the woman because she wasn't going to make it anyway. Anyway, that was that one. And then he also directed the next episode of season 11, which was episode 11-8, which was For Blood, which was the mid-season finale, and that was the one with the Awacha. So if you remember that one, right, where it ends with the supposed cliffhanger of who's going to survive, when, of course, we found out that everybody did. But anyway. And then on Fear, he's directed 4 episodes. He directed 413, which was Blackjack, which was where one of the storylines was John Dory Jr. and Strand were trapped on that little like island with the alligator in the water.
Oh, yeah.
And Blackjack, I think, refers to the candies that John Dory likes to eat.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, he directed in season 5, he directed 5-6, which was The Little Prince, which was the one with that stupid book. If you remember, it was all about the Look at the Flowers gang, and one of them was reading that book, The Little Prince. And I believe this is also the moment where Morgan tells the Look at the Flowers gang that, you know, they're going to rebuild the airplane. So it's that wonderful story.
Yeah.
Then in season 6, he directed Bury Her Next to Jasper's Leg, which we've talked about a bunch on recently because the writers were just in it. That was 6.6, and that's the oil field explosion, and Virginia gets bit and ends up getting her arm cut off episode. And then this season, he directed this one, Gone, and that's all of his Fear credits. And then he also directed World Beyond episode 1.3, which is called The Tiger and the Lamb. And that's the one where the kids are at that, like, that spot where it's like all the tires are on fire.
Yes.
And it's kind of like it had a specific name that they called it, and I can't remember off the top of it. I looked and I couldn't, in the episode description they didn't say what it was. But anyway, it's that one, and so Hope goes and starts the siren to draw away the ghouls, and then they all try and get through, and blah blah blah. There's a lot of Silas flashback stuff to him and his dad in it too. So anyway, he directed that one as well. So and again, you know, I think the dude's got some chops. I like the Walking Dead episodes that he did. I like the World Beyond episode that he did. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was better than all of this stuff, the Fear stuff. The Fear episodes are terrible, but again, you know, look at the scripts he's been given.
Right.
So I think he has some chops. I think he has got some talent and can direct some good stuff if he's given good material.
True.
And I think in this one, it was hopeless. I mean, you could have had, you know, Stanley Kubrick come in to direct this one from Beyond the Grave, and it would have sucked. So
yeah, that's true.
So yeah. So anyway, that is our writers and director. So
yeah, it's a shame too because I think too he was really hampered with this. I think it's a man. I'm so sorry. He or she was really hampered.
It's a dude. It's
okay.
A dude.
Hampered by the script in one sense, which is one of the things that have actually been interesting, at least visually, to watch over these episodes is I've really enjoyed a lot of the visuals they've done with the apocalypse sort of hellscape look and all of that. We've commented on it several times. And this episode is away from the blast zone. So there's none of that. There's no... I mean, at least those episodes had, like, well, at least it looks interesting, it looks different, it's got these deep saturated colors, and there's none of that in this episode. You know, he didn't have any of that to work with, so I feel for the guy, you know, but you can only do what you're given, and unfortunately there wasn't anything he could do to improve it, so, but, you know, his name's at the top of the clapper, so, you know, what are you going to do?
Absolutely. So, I mean, he, you know, the buck does stop with him to some extent. So.
True. So let's dive right into the excrement, shall we? I put just the cold open was just I just put it was terrible upon terrible. All these like ridiculous situations. It's it's Morgan landing, wherever it is he landed. It's
in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I forgot all about that stupid detail. Man, he travels fast and far. How does he do this?
Keep in mind, he rode by hand from Galveston, Texas to Louisiana.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at it on Google Maps just to see what kind of... Now, don't get me wrong. It is close to the Louisiana border. Mm-hmm. It is. To be fair, it's close to Louisiana border.
Right.
But that's still... It's still a good 50 miles, at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just eyeballing that on Google Maps.
You're sorry. Yeah. The one thing I would say is that it is entirely possible that there is some sort of current that comes in through the bottom of the Gulf and then loops around, the coast of Mexico and then Texas and then hugs the southern seaboard of the United States and then comes back down Florida in a big circle. Mm-hmm. So that might be. So he might have gotten the current to help, have him drift there. But still, again, 50 miles. How long do you think it would take you to row 50 miles? And keep in mind, you got a baby that, you have to feed every, couple hours.
Yeah.
And, make sure is okay. So, I don't know. That first part don't get me wrong. It's like, look, just, the radiation suits and everything, you don't use them properly anyway. So thank God we're doing an episode where it's just totally not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Even though we lose the look and we lose the filters and all that stuff, it's just like, it just reminds us of how awful the show is every time you see, one person is all decked out like from Mad Max, the Road Warrior, and the next person is just perfect day, without any cares in the world. So at least here they were in the outside of the fallout zone. They're in Louisiana. We have to assume he got here, but you're right. It was just in the way he's like scouting around, trying to find baby formula, trying to find all this stuff, and then the way he gets caught was
so stupid.
It's like, who would do that? Who would unzip their tent while lying on their back, completely unable to defend yourself, and then because he unzips it and he lifts it up and the dude's right there and he's like, hi, bang, and he
of course he was right
like,
there. Why would Morgan do that? Wouldn't he? I would rather lay in wait with my weapon, let them unzip the thing, and then when they do, you hit them.
Right.
Is he just learning? Is this defensive maneuvers 101? I don't get it.
Yeah. This is day 2 of the apocalypse. Oh, no, wait. This is, year 7.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like...
And he's in charge of a very small human being. Wouldn't your, spidey senses be a little... I don't know. The whole thing was just dumb.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It just... sorry to cut you off.
That's fine.
Again, the one of my big things about all of these kind of movies or stories is when characters make decisions, I always, to me, if it's something that I can see myself going, yeah, I would have tried that, or that's something I would have considered doing,
right?
Then I'm okay, right? And it's like the smell test, and it's like, I'm sorry, no one in their right mind would just unzip their tent and stick their head out like that when someone they don't know in a world where everybody is potentially going to kill you and take your stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't understand having your light on at night either. You're literally a big red beacon up in the trees for people to find. Because as soon as you put light behind that red tent, it might be seen maybe during the day, but at night, you've created you did that for a reason. You took that tent and you went up in the trees for a reason. Why don't you show us what that reason was, instead of acting like a dum-dum who, just woke up and obviously the apocalypse just happened 2 days ago, like you were saying.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. And the whole scavenging for supplies confused me because I was like, didn't they have they had tons of supplies.
Oh, they did.
In the sub. Why didn't they take those with them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And when he got in there, to paddle away, the whole point of it was, I have to get Mo to someplace safe. Yeah. So it's like, well, then bring a case or two of frickin' baby food with you ding dong.
Yeah, no kidding. I just didn't understand that. I can understand running low, but he was doing stupid, desperate things, and it didn't make any sense. Not this soon. So that was dumb. And then the whole scene when he wakes up on the beach and, he's being held by the Jason Part 2 people, and he ends up getting, he gets hit in the head. They throw him in the pit. They put the thing on his head. They start putting, digging the dirt and putting it in there. And then you hear, pop, pop, pop guns, and then he takes off his head cover. He sees Madison from behind, doesn't know it's her, obviously. And they have their whole exchange, and then she's like, I'm saving her from you, or whatever her final line is, and then, boom, that's the cold open. That scene where he's on the beach is the sneak peek that they gave at the end of the episode on... Didn't I say it wasn't the one that was on the AMC Plus? It was like when they did the show, the broadcast show, because I watched it.
It was on the broadcast, yes, because I had not seen it.
Yes, and I said that there was like this little sneak peek scene. This is the scene they showed, just the beach portion of the cold open. So you got to see his first meeting with Madison, which was pretty cool. I guess. If you think that that's actually Madison, it's the artist formerly known as Madison.
Yeah. I mean, it is. You're right. And then it's like, it's kind of like what you put in your note. It's like, he gets taken, he loses the baby, and then he gets saved by Madison, and then he loses the baby. You know what I mean? It's just like, not good.
Not good. Just a lot of not good. Let's also, so cold open, so let's talk title card. Our last title card for this season.
I was going to tell you, I listened this time, the music was different.
Yeah. After all that, they have been changing it up, and yes, I noticed this week it was different again as well. Ugh.
I know. It didn't make it any better. It just was different. So,
no.
And it was Madison. She was on the beach, and she, had her like little, air tank gas backpack and her pickaxe or whatever the weapon was she had. And then there were like four. She was on the beach. You could see the water in the background, behind her, and there were four of the bagged heads in the sand.
Yeah.
That the Jason Part 2 guys had obviously, buried there or whatever. And that was it. And again, it was not interesting, and it really didn't help explain anything or give anything away.
Yeah. Yeah. Not great. So the rest of the show can really be summed up in, all of my points was I put, each point I made, I was like, this point was dumb. This point was dumb. This point was dumb too. And this other point was dumb. So just safe to say, like, I just really feel like all across the board, I feel like the character choices were dumb. Morgan was acting not very Morgan-like. Once the baby was taken, he was kind of more Morgan-like. He's like, I gotta save that baby,
Oh, God.
But allowing the baby to be even taken in the first place when they were up in the tent is just so stupid. It's so opposite of how he would react, I don't know. Madison is not Madison. I feel like in any future podcast where we talk about her, we should just call her not Madison.
Not Madison? Okay.
Yeah, might as well. I just think, like, in a row I have, the premise of what Madison does, the stealing the babies, in order to keep her own kids safe. It's dumb. It's dumb. It doesn't have any meat behind it. Like, who would do those things? And why? I understand, like, I want to keep my kids safe, but who would believe that these people, because they're over in Louisiana now. Last time they all saw each other, they were still in Texas, right? Was where the stadium was?
That's where the stadium was, yeah.
Yeah. So, Louisiana is close. Don't get me wrong. It's not like she's in, like New York or something. But, she's far enough away. Who would think that a group would have that much reach? And how would they even know how to find Nick and Alicia? You know what I mean? Like, how do you even begin?
The knuckleheads have already established that, like, a bounty hunter with, like, a hand-drawn picture of Morgan in the apocalypse, when, there aren't even, like, people you can, like, ask, have you seen this person? Or not very many of them. That guy could find Morgan in Texas like that. So clearly the fact that she's mentioned her kids' names to the Padre people means that they will be able to find them instantly.
Yeah.
It's foolish.
It is. And she even says, like, later, and then the way she sort of, like, had to mentally disconnect herself from her kids. in order to, you know, like, I don't even want to find them now or whatever. I don't want to go, you know.
Because I'm ashamed. Because they played me. The Padre people made me do so many bad things. I could never, like, are you kidding me? You're in the apocalypse. Everybody has done crappy things to survive.
Yeah, that doesn't ring true either. Like you said, it's who has guilt about anything? I mean, yes, you have guilt, but you just keep it inside, you know?
Right.
Nobody's, like, letting their guilt keep them from doing things in the apocalypse. Yeah. No, you need, like you're saying, you need to survive. You got to do stuff sometimes. So her premise was dumb. The explanation of how she survived is dumb. If we even got an explanation, it was mostly just her saying, you know, I'm surprising, or I'm not who you think I am, or whatever it was, and I'm like, is that an explanation? I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was in Morgan in response. Morgan said something like, you know, your kid said
I wrote the line down.
Oh, you did?
Because that was one of my points. Yeah, he goes, way I heard it, there was no way you could have gotten out of that place alive, meaning the stadium. And this is, again, the setup to this is, when they announced Madison was coming back, the two questions that all of us had on the tips of our tongues were, where have you been all this time? Mm-hmm. Right? Why have you not found your kids? Because everyone finds everyone in Texas on this show. And the second thing is, how did you survive the stadium? Please tell us what happened. And so when Morgan finally asked that damn question, this is what the knuckleheads give us. Madison kind of gives him a little side eye and says, I'm full of surprises. That's it. We got 4 forking words about how she survived the stadium.
It's ridiculous.
I guarantee you they will never mention the stadium again.
Probably not, no.
Nope. Not a chance. Not a frickin' chance. And so, I mean, weren't you thinking like we might get like a flashback sequence? Right? Something like showing her getting away from the ghouls, somehow finding a way or something. But nope, don't do that. And you know that the knuckleheads are like, yep, that solved that question. No one was going to want to know anything else now, you know.
She is full of surprises, folks. What can we say?
What can we say? That's Madison. Yeah, I mean, it's... that annoyed me to no end. That... it's just one of many things that annoyed me to no end about this episode. But that in particular, I'm like, really? That's all we're going to frickin' get about this? That's it? Ugh. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I hate it. I should have put it in air quotes, you know, the explanation for how she survived. Yeah. There was no explanation. It shouldn't have even. I shouldn't have even called it that. Right. I know the whole plan with the pregnant girl, where they fake her out and they're like, if you bring the pregnant girl to Padre, they might, you know, give you Mo in exchange. They might. Mm-hmm. So then mostly. So then this whole plan that becomes Morgan and Madison in cahoots with, like, yeah, come to Padre. It's fantastic. They'll take care of your baby. Mm. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Mm-hmm. Just that whole premise was so, like, who would go along with that? 2 strangers you just met. Yeah, come with us. Your baby will be fine.
Oh, totally fine.
Now,
nothing
obviously,
weird here.
It turned around on them because turns out she was, you know, double-crossing them because they did already take her child, and it was a year ago, and I can't believe you don't remember me, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, please. She's stolen so many kids, you don't even care. She doesn't care anymore. So,
right. They all blur together at this point.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where it was a terrible premise to begin with, and then they try to give aha, I gotcha. She's not really pregnant. Ha-ha, don't you see? Yes. Do the old-timey talk there. She's not really pregnant, no. Listen up, see?
There's a lot of fake pregnancies going on in Louisiana after the apocalypse.
Yeah, so it's a terrible premise, and then it turns out she's not even pregnant. They're just trying to, like, get their way into Padre, or get their way into
Well, she does. She's trying to catch Madison, and is gonna. She thinks she's gonna force Madison to take her to where her daughter is, because Madison took her daughter like a year previous to this encounter. So
and Madison's job, she's called a collector, right? That's what
yes.
the other people refer to her as. She's a collector. Ugh.
Yep.
So weird.
I know.
Yeah, so the getting the pregnant girl to go is dumb. The double cross by the pregnant girl, air quotes, was dumb as well.
If her name was Ava, if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
that's. I know. We don't care, but that.
Who really cares? Come on. Then Morgan, with his whole being taken to Padre, they're like, "Come with," or "We're gonna have to take you with," and I don't get it. And like he ends up on this boat, and then they're going towards like a Coast Guard cutter, and
almost like the one that Rick found.
Yeah,
or that Michonne found.
And people are going to go crazy over that. Oh, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. Not from these guys, not ever. It doesn't mean anything. And and then the little reveal at the end, right before they put the hoods over them or whatever, I forgot to tell you, Padre, I don't know where it is or whatever. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's shocking. And then I put everything is dumb. That's it. Everything's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah. Not wrong.
No. And then I put, as a note, because I think it actually is very noteworthy, I did not watch Talking Dead. And it's the first time. Like, I've always watched it, like, when they did the premiere of Fear, and when they've done, the Talking Deads for World Beyond, when we weren't liking World Beyond, for season 1, and other seasons of Fear. I've watched Talking Deads. And I was so disappointed with every aspect of this episode. And when I went into Talking Dead last night, I started watching. I got about 10 minutes in, maybe. Kim Dickens told a really cute story at the beginning about having to keep it secret when she came back on the show, and that was really nice. And Chris Hardwick was doing his usual thing, and he wasn't being super cheerleadery, I'll give him that, but he was he's asking more like questions, like what do you think about this, and what were your thoughts on the the storyline or whatever. And then they panned out and they showed the whole area, so it's Chris Hardwick and then Kim Dickens, and Denai Garcia is there as well, who plays Lucy. And so she's sitting there, and she's very still. She's not very, like, loosey-goosey, like, oh, I'm having a great time. No. And Kim Dickens is telling the story about how, the storyline was presented to her, and she was so excited because, there's lots of great things in store, and she's just very... And she's trying to, like, really, not hype it up, but she's just very, like... She's talking about the things that appeal to her, and Chris is inquiring with her and just asking questions, and again, he's not being cheerleader, but Denai Garcia has a moment where she's just like, she just nods her head like very curtly, like
yeah,
and I can see like she is not into this at all, and I'm like, oh God, I can't watch an hour of this where they just... And they hadn't even talked to the knucklehead yet. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't watch... Because I knew, like, there were so many things that were disappointing in this episode. And I knew that there was nothing that they were going to say. There was no story or tidbit from, like the did you know or behind the episode or trivia that was going to make me feel any differently about the episode. I just... And I didn't care enough about any of the stuff that they presented to us to even want to know. Like, because every now and then they'll have, like, something that you're like, oh, I didn't even really think about that. Or,
right.
Or they'll show, like, how hard it was to film this crazy zombie sequence or whatever. We didn't have any of that. There wasn't really a lot of... There was, like, one cool scene with Madison where she killed some zombies. That's about it. And then we had, like, the buried zombies in the sand, which that seems pretty, I don't want to say easy, but it seems fairly low tech to be able to get that done. There really wasn't anything that I was like, ooh, I want to know how they did this. No. And there wasn't, I just don't think there was anything that would have been interesting. And as you stated, we've already wasted hours of our life watching this show, and I was like, there's nothing that Talking Dead's going to do that's going to change my opinion on the episode. And I still love Denai Garcia. I still love Ken Dickens, and I just want to keep it that way, and we're just going to not watch Talking Dead. So that's what I decided to do, and I shut it off. And let me tell you, I switched over to John Oliver, and it was really depressing because he talked about policing inside schools and with all of the stuff going on in the news. Much more depressing topic, but I enjoyed it much more because it was well thought out and intelligent and interesting, and that was better. Yep. That says a lot. So
yeah, so I mean, it hasn't shown up yet on AMC Plus, so don't know if I'm gonna watch it. Might just skip it.
Yeah. You've got some points here. You got a couple of we covered a couple of your quotes. Is there any other sort of details you put in there? Because I know you said there was one thing that actually stood out to you that you actually kind of enjoyed.
Oh yeah, well we'll get to that. First of all, more ranting.
Rant away, sir.
Why, thank you. There's a scene early on when Madison is she takes the baby and she goes stomping off and tells Morgan, if you follow me I'll kill you, right? And so then we get her by herself and she's kind of walking through the woods. And these like four ghouls, like conveniently one in each compass point, are converging on her. And so she stops, and so she takes out her, whatever that was, hammer or pickaxe, and she does this like spinning 360 and takes out all four of the ghouls. Bang, 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 and they all drop, right? And on the surface, I was like, okay, that was cool. And if that had happened on the main show, I'd be like, man, that was awesome. If Maggie did that or something.
Yep.
But these knuckleheads, they have no credit with me at all. They have nothing built up in equity on the good side. And so all I could see when I saw that was, wow, that was really convenient that all the ghouls like lined up perfectly for you and walked at just the right speed and distance so they were all perfectly placed so you could get all four of them in one cool move. You know what I mean? It was like I picked it apart because these knuckleheads are so freaking bad at everything they write. I'm like, no, that was not good. That was way too convenient, and I don't buy it.
Yep.
Literally, I was back in line of customer service. I ain't buying it. Whereas if it had happened on the main show, I'd be like, Angela Kang, that was amazing. So that was one thing. And then, like we kind of teased at the beginning, definitely from another item off the wouldn't it be cool list was the fact that Padre, the folks there, they've decided that they're banning family.
Yeah, what is that about?
I'm like, seriously? Like, what the fork are you talking about? And they've come up with a better way to do it, that you'll survive if you have no attachments or commitments. And I'm like, what? And again, it's I can just see, Andrew Knucklehead, looking over at Ian Knucklehead and said, hey, you know what would be cool? What if we had a bunch of guys and they decided there aren't going to be any families, and so that's why Madison is stealing kids for them so they can raise them in an environment where there are no families. We've never seen that before. That'd be cool, right? And of course the other guy's like, oh my God, yeah, we're going to get an Emmy, and off they go, right?
Of course.
But it just, when you hear it, when she said that line, I mean, first of all, like, I laughed when she said that the first time, where I'm like, really? And then I'm like, oh, she's serious, and then as it went on, I was just like, that is what Padre is. That's what's going on there, right? Yep. Okay, this is going to suck. And then the other thing, which we already kind of touched on a little bit, is, the whole, reason why is Madison, when she initially she's doing this, stealing the kids because she wants to get her own kids back.
Right.
And then we find out and again, I'm sure this was supposed to be, oh my God, this is going to be the ultimate twist and mind screw with the audience, because we're going to reveal that actually Madison is still taking the kids because she doesn't want to find her own kids and she wants to keep them safe. And again, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like you said earlier, why would you even, why would you even take a kid for them in the first place, Madison?
Right.
Which I'm sorry, I don't buy it. You're a mother. I don't frickin' buy it. There's no way you would ever take a child from their parents unless their parents are, abusive or whatever, right? I mean, I'm talking about a parent that loves a child and is taking care of them as best they can. There's no way that Madison as a mom is going to be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take that,
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And so, again, and like we pointed out, we're supposed to believe that, this Shadow Island organization group or whatever is somehow going to be able to track down Nick and Alicia in Texas when they don't even know what they look like. They have no idea. I mean, all she knows is like, well, they were at this stadium a year ago and it burned to the ground, and I haven't seen them since. Good luck with that. I mean, it's just like, come on, really? Anyway, that was awful. What else? We talked about, that we only got the 4 words from the knuckleheads. The one thing that one sequence that I liked was when they had buried Madison up to her neck.
Yep.
They were doing the creep show thing. But unlike everybody else, they decided to not cover up her head. So her head was just out there, and she's staring at the water, and they show a couple of things kind of wash up, and she's, doing the whole, breathing thing, because she obviously can't breathe very well because she took some kind of damage to her lungs from the fire.
We guess.
And I guess, I mean, again, she wouldn't talk about it, so how are we ever going to know?
No.
And so then the things in the water, they turn out to be ghouls, right? And they get up and they, of course, start coming towards her. And after a couple of, and Morgan shows up and saves her and all that stuff. But as more and more of them come out, you start seeing that they're all wearing the Jason Part 2 masks.
Mm-hmm.
And you suddenly realize that they're the whole posse that went after the Padre people.
Mm-hmm.
With Ava, and of course that's another supposed to be shocking reveal where we're supposed to feel bad for this girl we met 12 minutes ago that she's dead.
Yep.
And on top of it, she's dead for being an idiot.
Yeah.
But anyway, that I thought that scene was kind of cool when they're all kind of getting out of the water. Clearly the Padre people shot them at the dock or out on the water, and they all fell in there, and they kind of drifted ashore and then got up, and then now they're coming. I kind of like that just from a production standpoint. I thought that they looked cool, they looked waterlogged, and that was neat, and I think the way they staged that scene was pretty cool. That was the only moment of the whole episode where I kind of enjoyed that sequence. I mean, again, the whole pretense and setup of it was unbelievably stupid and silly and bad, but I did kind of like that moment.
I was going to say, too, I did it. I knew when we were talking about it I'd find at least one thing that I thought was interesting. I liked the production design of the heads when they were in the sand, because they put the crabs and other crustaceans on them, which felt very appropriate. That's definitely something that would happen no matter what.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice attention to detail. So.
Yeah, and again, but I mean that's the KNB people that are the boots on the ground that are making that episode happen. That's not at the offices where Knucklehead 1 and Knucklehead 2 are writing this crap.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so, but you're right. I like that moment too. Like we said last week, when we kind of got that little description, that little, I think you talked about the scene and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it might have been just in the scenes for next week. We saw the reveal, like Morgan pulled the bag off, and you saw the crabs on there, and like we mentioned, it was like a little nod almost to the Leslie Nielsen Ted Danson story in the original Creepshow movie, You know, where Leslie Nielsen buries Ted Danson and Galen Ross from Dawn of the Dead in the sand because she's, you know, his wife and is stepping out on him with Sammy from Cheers. And anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. And you're right, the production design on that and the look of that was pretty awesome.
Did look pretty cool. Any other points that we want to discuss about the actual episode crap itself?
You know, I think, you know, we're all, I mentioned this in one before we started that Talking Dead did a little Facebook PR last night before the episode, and they put a picture up, and it had Chris Hardwick, and it had Kim and Danae, and I think it was Andrew Knucklehead was the Knucklehead who was there for the two of them, and it was like, hey, don't forget, Talking Dead is on right after the season finale, you know, and when I looked, and this is like at about maybe like 6:30 or 6:45 Central Time. There was like 57 comments already attached to that post, and I read them all. And I would say that like maybe 2 or 3 of them were actually, ooh, looking forward to Talking Dead, or this is going to be great, or, you know, wow, what a great season. I mean, that was it, right? And the other like 54 of them were literally just ripping the show and the showrunners to shreds about how incredibly stupid it is and why. You know, one of my favorite ones was, can someone ask the guy in the glasses, which is Andrew Knucklehead, because he had glasses in the picture, can you ask the guy in the glasses why he and his partner have run the show into the ground? And so, again, it kind of made me feel a little bit better. Like I said, I'm always worried when I'm just like, oh, this is the worst show on TV. I'm always worried where I'm like, am I just like missing the boat here? And like, this is really good, and just there's something wrong with me. And I can confidently say now that it is definitely not me. It is them.
Yes.
So... And vindication is nice. I just wish the show was better.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like we have fun. We try to make it fun and light, and, you know, and we love the feedback from people and all that stuff. But we would much rather, if we could choose, we would much rather talk about a show that's fun to talk about. You know, that's the show. The show itself is fun, not the making fun of it is fun. You know.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think that's really it. You know, again, like we said, you know, fire good, season finale bad.
Yeah. Yes, very bad. All right, well, we're not gonna prolong it much longer. Plus, we've got tons and tons of feedback to get to. Because
I know.
All they had to do was really, really lay a stinker, and we just got tons of people that just wanted to let us know about it, and they did. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna discuss that feedback, and we're gonna talk about what is coming up on the podcast.
So stick around. We'll be right back.
The following is an emergency action message. Civil authorities have identified a biological threat that they deem credible. This threat could potentially affect the entire continental United States.
The dead are returning to life and attacking the living.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man up bad and he's attacking another man. Looks like he's biting him, like on the arm.
The initial signs are puzzling, unclear.
Getting pulled out of their cars and thrown to the ground. It looks like the bus passengers are biting their victims.
Soon, however, the reality is clear and undeniable.
The crisis involving the recently dead continues. Parliament today passed a law that requires all bodies of the recently deceased to be registered and turned
Toxic
over.
Bag Productions has captured the sounds of the zombie apocalypse and brought them to your gaming table. Background ambiences, zombie attacks, and radio transmissions that set the scene for your modern zombie adventure. Download MP3s from DriveThruRPG.com or ToxicBag.com.
Hi, I'm Ross Marquand, and you're listening to the Aim for the Head podcast with Diana and Steve. And remember, always aim for the head, because body shots just don't work.
Oh, Ross, we have to thank you. You've helped us make it through all these episodes. Thank you, good sir. Thank you.
Yes, Ross. Mission accomplished.
Oh, hey, everybody, we're back. And we're going to start off by going through our Oh my God. So many letters in the mailbag this week. We got so much feedback. We're just blown away. And first of all,
the mailman had like a hernia dragging that bag up here with all of our stuff.
He did. He's going to file a lawsuit against Aim for the Head.
I think so.
And first off, thank you everybody for writing in. So many people who took time. Some new names are in there in the mix, and some oldie but goodies. And we're just very glad. Thank you so much, everybody, for all of your participation this week. We're super excited. So let's get started. Let's get it started. Okay.
Back to the stadium chant.
I mean, come on.
Go ahead. Hit the horns again. Come on.
Where's the... Oh, I turned the sound down. Well, because I didn't want to hit it by accident while we were recording and then have that happen, because that's just a big old screw up, no matter what you do.
Look, we should be celebrating. That's right,
Yeah,
baby. That season's over.
Yes. Oh, my God. Anyway. All right, so let's get started on our feedback. So, Steve, why don't you take the first piece of feedback there?
All right, now this we are going to our international desk, and this bit of feedback is for last week's episode, which of course was 715, Amina, which was the last Alicia Debenham Carey episode, and this comes from our pal Andy from Germany. Hey Andy, what's up, man?
Hey Andy.
We missed you there for a couple weeks. Glad you're back.
Yay!
And, of course, he sends all of his feedback via email. And so he starts out by saying, "Hi, Diana and Steve. The episodes of Fear lately changed from being bad with funny moments to just being boring. Therefore, it's hard to find something I want to talk about. I am impressed how you guys still take this seriously. How did they all get out of the burning tower?" They have a secret way to get in and out of the tower, but that only works if the camera is off. If the camera is on, they have to walk through the herd, but if the camera is off, they use the secret way. That's how they got everyone out. And you know what, Andy? That makes as much sense as anything else we can come up with.
That's absolutely true. That's probably the most sensical thing we've heard so far. Brother.
He goes on to say, "I disagree with the riding into the sunset with Alicia. It is not uncommon in the main show that characters who got another show just leave the group without dying. Michonne did this when she joined Star Trek Discovery, and I think actually he means Sasha, and she actually died then she joined Discovery. But Michonne did." I mean, she didn't, like, go off in the sunset. She, like, found, like, the wagon train people, and then that was the last we ever saw of her. So, yeah, and again, I'll keep reading here, but he goes on to say Maggie for Whiskey Cavalier, and then Luke for the Harry Potter movies, which is actually, I think he means the Fantastic Beasts movies, which is like Harry Potter universe stuff. And then he goes on to say that Alicia walks away alive means that they see a chance that she returns in a later season. And I think my response to that, and I probably didn't do a good enough job last week, was pointing out that unless you are Rick Grimes or one of those kind of characters on the main show, you don't get a happy ending. You don't get to just kind of I'm just going to go all over here and you'll never see me again, right?
Right.
But I think he is right there, and I think we get a little bit of feedback on this from somebody else a little bit later on, saying that there's a chance, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, that the knuckleheads maybe are saying, well, Alicia's going to go off and do this other show, and if it tanks and gets canceled after one season, maybe we could bring her back onto our show at some point. I don't think this show's going to last more than next season, but I could certainly see them thinking that, and so I agree with you, Andy, that yes, that has been done for a couple of the characters from time to time. And maybe Alicia qualifies. I mean, I was thinking about it, and Dee, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I want to say that next to Daryl and Maggie, Alicia Clark is the third longest running character in the Walking Dead universe. That's still active. That's still on the show.
7 years. Yeah, if you take Melissa McBride, Lauren Cohen.
Right. I forgot Melissa McBride. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's nobody else that joined along with Maggie that second season. That's still around. Not really.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Daryl, Carol, and Maggie are the top three, and then you have, I think you had Alicia Clark, and then probably Strand. I think Victor Strand would be fourth. In terms of active, I know Michonne probably was on for 8 seasons. No, I don't know. When did Michonne join? Season 3? I don't know. I was thinking about it going, Alicia Clark was kind of like one of the biggest, longest running characters in the Walking Dead universe. Which made the way they wrote her out even worse, in my opinion. That's despite that was the crappy ending she got. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. He goes on to say, I don't think that the new anthology series of The Walking Dead will be a success. And his reason is, if only 1.5 million want to see the final series of the main show, I doubt they get many viewers for this. There is a hardcore of fans, though, judged by the fact that 700,000 people still watch Fear. I gotta kind of disagree with you, Andy. I think the show, at least for the first season, unless the stories are just completely terrible, I think it's going to be a bigger ratings score than Fear, easily. Well, what do you think, Dee?
I think people are excited about the differentness of it, that it exists within the universe, but isn't tied to the main series or any of the companion shows. I think that it is standalone. I think that that's appealing. I think they need to really stick the landing in the first episode or two, or they will get drop off. But I think a lot of people are going to watch at least that first week or two. And I did hear through the grapevine, if you're not interested, I'm sorry, but they did say, I did hear through the grapevine that the first episode to drop is the one that it has Parker Posey in it. That is that one we've seen where she makes the one come up and like bite her in the neck in the promo. So that alone I think will draw people in because it's such an odd take on the universe. I don't know, and maybe it won't land. Who knows? Because it's premiering in the summer, so who knows? But I don't know. I think the fan base is ready for something that's interesting.
Yeah, I do too. I think the fan base wants to see ghouls in different locations. We kind of got teased in World Beyond with the variants, in Europe. So I think people want to see an episode that's in Spain or England or even Germany, Andy, or something, and just what's going on there, or in Chile or somewhere in South America or down in Africa. I mean, there's so many places that you could go and set this, and then like you said, not tied to anything or anyone on the main show or any of the other shows that exist. It's a separate little story that lives in the world. And I think there's a lot of excitement there of what could we actually see. And you're right, they can't screw it up, which is true of any show. But I think it's going to do fairly well. I think it'll definitely get at least another season out of it. And they'll run these 6 episodes and then they'll greenlight more. It's going to be at minimum, is my guess. But anyway, he finishes it off by saying, "Whatever. I'm looking forward to your podcast about this great season final. Goodbye, Andy from Germany." So, Andy, thank you so much for writing some interesting points that made us think. And by all means, please keep sending in your feedback, man. We love it.
Absolutely. And, whether or not the anthology is popular remains to be seen. We'll have to see how people react to it, if they are excited for it. I know I am, but just because I am doesn't mean everybody else is. So
that's true. That's true.
So next up, we got some feedback from our pal Phil Parrish on Facebook, who last week he had a comment about Alicia just falling asleep and waking up and she was fine. And his response to what we said on the podcast about that was, he says, "What? A girl hallucinated, took a nap, and her friends went whitewater rafting." I mean, it's plausible. I mean, that's exactly what happened, you know.
Hey, if a guy can fall asleep in a truck in Texas and wake up in Mississippi, anything's possible.
That's true. That's totally true. Yeah. Thanks for writing in, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
We appreciate
awesome,
it.
Man. Next piece of feedback, and again, I still think this is still for last week, or is this for this week? I can't.
No, it's for this week. These comments from Phil and Barry and Sarah, they were left after we recorded, but before the new episode dropped.
Before the new episode. Gotcha,
and they don't mention the new episode, so I just grouped it in with last week's feedback. Okay. So sort of general feedback, if you will.
Again, it's just so amazing. We got so much feedback. It's so great.
Yeah, we got so much we don't even know how to categorize it.
I know. What do we do? So this comes from our pal Barry Pettis. Hello, Barry. Hello. And he sent this via the Facebook, like Phil. And his comment was, "Thanks for the podcast. Please don't quit." He goes, "I know it's hard, but they got to finish the story." And Barry, it's comments like that will keep us going, I think. Don't you agree, Dee?
I totally agree. Thank you, Barry, for your kind words. We appreciate them. Next up, we got an email from Sarah Cardone, or Cardoni, I'm not sure. So sorry about that, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah.
And this is a first-timer. We're very excited. Yay! And Sarah starts off her email by stating exactly that. Long-time listener, first-time commenting. Thank you so much for taking the time to write in.
Welcome to the conversation.
I know. So Sarah continues to say, "I know you can't hear me, but you should know I spend half the podcast responding to your comments." I know, right? I agree, and often that's what I said. I get it. I do that with other podcasts too.
Me too.
I really feel like podcasts are really good for the people that are like not, like I don't have a huge social circle, but I feel like I have one because I talk to my friends every week, and
you listen to the podcast?
I listen to podcasts, and I'm like, I disagree, and then I make my points, and blah, 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 and I'm like, I do it all the time. Sarah, I'm with you. Sister, I got you.
I'm right there with you, my dear. I feel it too.
So Sarah continues to say, like you, I have been hate watching Fear the Walking Dead for a long time. For me, they jumped the shark when they allowed Charlie to get away with killing Nick with almost no repercussions.
Ooh, wow. You are a long-time hate watcher.
Yeah, that's some deep-seated hate right there. Well done. She says, I was finally quitting after the first half of this season, and then we found out Madison was coming back. So I stuck around waiting for what was sure to be an emotional and earned reunion between mother and daughter. But alas, once again, the knuckleheads screwed us over. Steve, I would have paid to see your version of this season come to life.
Ooh, well,
nice.
Thank you. I like that.
Don't offer him money. He'll just do crazy things. A couple of thoughts about this penultimate episode. So, Amina, obviously. In a sea of embarrassingly bad scenes, bad writing, and ridiculous plot twists, for me, the absolute worst moment was Alicia declaring to Strand that she loves him. What a ridiculous last-minute declaration to someone who has done nothing to earn it. As far as killing her off, I understand why they wouldn't, in case her show bombs and she comes back like Lauren Cohen. They know that Alicia is the biggest draw of this show, but I'm betting that ADC will make it. She got what she needed from this dumpster fire of a show, and it's time to move on. Good for her.
Good for her.
We agree. I'm not sure I'll actually watch the finale. I was looking forward to Madison's return, but I'm not liking her attitude. Madison 2.0 may just be a new low for two guys that have proven again and again that they don't know how to use or write for their characters. Anyways, great job with the podcast. Thank you for the laughs. You're welcome, Sarah. You know what's really funny is... Didn't we make the point when there was a really big fever pitch, like about 2 seasons ago, where people were like, bring back Madison, or like a year or so ago? Mm-hmm. And one of the things I said was, I didn't want them to bring back Madison because as much as I hated that she died on the show, I was afraid because the show had started to really go off the rails. And I was like, I wouldn't want her to come back because right now, she's a great character. And she left a little early, but she's still a great character. And unfortunately, Sarah, you are absolutely right. This Madison 2.0, hopefully you have watched the episode by now, but if you haven't, trust us, you're not missing anything. And you're absolutely correct. They have rewritten her as this other person. She doesn't resemble the Madison we know. And it was something that I was a little bit afraid of, and it's actually happened. I mean, not specifically that they would write her badly, but I was just worried about her coming back, and it, A, not making sense, which it doesn't, and them just not writing to her good character, and they didn't do that. They created something new. It's like some sort of Frankenstein monster of Madison. It's not really her. So I'm right there with you. And Sarah, thank you so much for your email. We hope that you are inspired to write in again for any other show that we're covering or something in the Walking Dead universe. If you do watch the finale, please write in and let us know what you thought about it. Because it's not that we're masochists, but we just want to share the pain with others. You know,
we do, it's more fun when everybody is contributing. You know, it's so great to hear what you guys think. You know, do you like what we're saying? Do you not like what we're saying? And so whenever someone takes the time to write like this, it's amazing. So Sarah, welcome and thank you so much. That was amazing feedback.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that's all we got for the last week's episode. So moving on, everything here is about the wonderful, stupendous, amazing finale that we watched. So, Steve,
nice.
Why don't you tackle this email as well? And if you need to stop in the middle to take a breath or drink some water, I totally understand.
All right. Well, I will try and power through it here. This is this came again for 716 Gone, and this is from our P1 fan Alex Baelish.
Hey,
hello, Alex. How are you? And again, this is via the email, and he says, Diane and Steve, first off, congratulations on getting to the end of this.
Yes.
He goes, whatever it is. After watching this episode, I've come to the conclusion the knuckleheads really hate kids and or their parents. And he goes, number one, they kill off Madison, a stable family unit. Number two, they add the Children of the Corn, or as we called them, the Look at the Flowers gang, only to forget about them in Tanktown, which I believe blows up. Number three, kills Moe's mom on Mother's Day.
Yes, that was particularly good of them. Ugh.
Yes. Oh, my God. And then number four, they make Baby Mo one of the most hated characters in the show with her crying fit on the sub. I know babies cry, but that episode could make people think twice about having kids after watching it. I think they are using it in high schools and middle schools for that reason.
Yes.
Yes. And I would point out, Alex, it's not just the sub episode. Every episode that kid's in, all it does is cry.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it does.
Yep.
And it's annoying as F. Okay?
Yes.
We get it. Move on. All right, so he goes on to say, now they have teased the hell out of Madison coming back the second half, and they give her a whole episode, which was great. Now she is a baby-stealing vigilante for Padre? They made Alicia's death meaningless. What was the point of that? I know she didn't want to stick around one more day to see Kim Dickens because that meant she would have to be on the set with this crap instead of filming a show that people want to watch on Hulu. And you ain't wrong. Out of all the storylines, you thought of this was the best one. Let's make her a bad. And I believe like he's talking to the knuckleheads here.
Yes, directly.
Out of all the storylines that you guys thought of, this was the best one. Let's make her a bad guy. Yeah, that's a great twist. Heads have gone out of their way to ruin the show, but I'm sorry, this is the exact opposite of fan service. They're just cruel, insensitive, and weird. Just mean to the fan base that is very passionate and wants to keep watching. They keep thinking they are clever or funny, but they are not funny or smart. What makes me so mad is there is only maybe 5 of these episodes that they've been a part of that were good at best. And I think you're being generous there, because I can really only think of one myself. He goes on to say, I have been writing in with my silly feedback that you are nice enough to read every week because this is fun, in quotations, right? Listening to you both talk about this crap and react well to all of the feedback is the best part. I keep hoping that we will find something good that I missed. Fear the Walking Dead has no real connection with any of the other shows. Yes, Morgan is the OG of the franchise, but even he is a watered-down version that people don't like. And then in parentheses says, which is a crime to the Walking Dead universe. Now we have a new group, Padre, or whatever it's called, to go along with the CRM and the Commonwealth. Is Rick Grimes going to be in the middle of all three groups with his hands up high like Moses? Let my people go. In the Rick movies, that will never happen. And yeah. I think because we saw that cutter out in the Gulf, that people are going to be making the connections.
Of course they are.
Then he goes on to say, I don't care whose fault it is because the damage is done. It's a sinking ship, and everyone that can is jumping, except for Kim Dickens and Jenna Elfman for some reason. He goes on, how about for once in their lives they answer some questions in the show where you should, and that was all in caps. We know they won't on The Talking Dead. I'm not going to lie, I've always been on the fence with this show from the start. I thought they would go in a different direction. They are like the boat in the first season, dead in the water with no plan that was solid. Right. I really thought they had the makings of a great storyline this season since they were in a nuclear wasteland, but instead they turned it into really bad Z Nation. And then he says in parentheses, which I loved because they knew how to make fun of themselves, and then back to the show, they really did a whole lot of nothing.
Yes.
And that is the feedback from Mr. Baelish and Alex. That was epic, and I hope you feel better. I hope it was cathartic for you. And I think everything you said on there, most of us are like, preach, brother, because you ain't wrong.
No. There's not a lot of wrong in that. I completely agree with you. Whew. All right, next up
How about this?
We're graced with a little feedback from Diane from the Biters podcast. Ooh.
Well, hello there, Alaskan stranger.
I know. Diane sent us some feedback via the Facebook. Sarcasm is always helpful. She says, why would anyone get out of a lifeboat and back onto the Titanic?
I think the picture you posted was Madison, right?
Yeah. Why would you do that? Sorry. And then she included a little bit more feedback and says, by the way, Frank Delane, who played Nick, is a delight in The Essex Serpent, which I hadn't heard of. So
I have not. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Love a good recommendation along with killing our souls with the other stuff, So thanks for writing in, Diane, as always.
Yes, it's good to hear from you. I hope everything is going well out there in the place that can see Russia from your backyard.
Yes, that place.
All right, so moving on, next piece of feedback also came via the Facebook, and this is from our listener and fan, Elizabeth Lawson. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
And she says, I haven't watched any of the second half of this train wreck of a season. Spoilers haven't even concerned me for once. LOL.
That must be great. Like, what a freeing feeling that you don't have to worry about spoilers because you just don't care about the show itself.
Yeah. And just you don't have that like that it's like the sword of Damocles that's over your head every week knowing you got to watch this crappy episode and it's going to suck and you're going to hate it but you got to watch it. It must be really nice to not have that feeling.
Yeah. I'd love to not have that feeling. Well, starting next week. So next up we got some feedback from Diane Lasorsa via the Facebook. So hey Diane, thank you so much.
Hello Diane.
And Diane said, and I think she liked this episode. Hang on. I can't believe I just watched the opening scene in this whole season. I was always hopeful it would be better, but this is the worst TV show ever. A total train wreck. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think she liked this episode.
No, I don't think she did like it. No.
Sorry. No, I was just kidding.
You know what? You got the wrong feeling.
Yes, my feelings were wrong. Thanks for writing in, Diane. We know this has been a tough season, but thank you for sticking it out and sticking with us while you're doing that. So thanks again for writing in. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you very much, Diane. All right, so moving on, because yes, people, there is more feedback.
More to come.
This piece also came from the Facebook, and this was from Danielle Dement Juiced. And hello, Danielle. And
hey,
I can't. Is this a first timer?
I think it's a first timer.
All right, I was going to say, I don't recognize the name, but if this is not your first time, I apologize. But if it is, welcome, and thank you for joining our little discussion group, our little Fear Book Club, if you will.
Yes.
And basically, our Fear Book Club is us throwing books at the knuckleheads. That's
pretty
what it
much.
would be. Like hardcover,
why not?
books at them. Right.
No.
And anyway, Danielle says, Madison's story makes no sense at all. She would never agree to kidnap children, especially young children, just for a promise that some unseen people are going to help her reunite with her teenage/young adult children. I don't buy it. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I am right there with you in customer service saying I don't buy it because it's not believable and bad.
I agree. I totally agree. That's the worst part. It's if something were believable and just not well written, you might be able to give it a little bit of, maybe, but no. Poorly written, poorly executed, poorly thought out, just everything's terrible.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, though, for writing in, Danielle. I think Danielle is a listener from the Walking Dead cast, and I did participate in 2 roundtable discussions that were released only to the Patreon supporters of that podcast. So I'm pretty sure Danielle is a part of that. It's called the Zed Head group. And Danielle, I think maybe you just sort of found us via there. And if that's the case, let us know. That's great.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for leaving us your feedback, which, of course, is what we love. We love to get it.
I love it. I love the cross-pollination. I think that's just so cool.
It is. It's very cool. Next up, we have Karen Cohen via Facebook. And Karen says, what I don't care about is Morgan in Madison. I want Strand in Madison. I want Strandison. I love it. How many pregnancy tests do you need to prove a fake point? Has Madison really taken 700-something children? Are there even that many kids out there? I really thought we were going to get Dark Madison, but what we got was Darth Madison. Well done. Well done, Karen. I appreciate it. And make it make sense is what she says. I wish I could. I can't.
I know.
Powerless. We ask you guys every week. Make it, not so much make it make sense, not word for word, but it's, if you see something, if something, it makes sense to you, tell us so that we can, let others know.
That's right. But we suss it out.
We haven't been able to suss any of that. Sorry.
No.
And then
no sussing.
No sussing at all. She followed up at the bottom by saying, by the way, I wanted to mention that there is a podcast out there that isn't shitting all over this show every week, and seem to think a lot of it makes sense. But it's just the one because reasons. So she didn't say what it was, but I wonder if it's like either a podcast that's done by somebody who writes reviews or something, right. Or like maybe a blogger, or maybe it's someone who maybe it's connected to AMC or The Talking Dead somehow, so they have to sort of blow smoke up AMC's butt. So
they got to follow the party line. Maybe. I'd be interested to find out if it's called like Andrew and Ian's Fireside Chats or something.
It could be. It really could be.
Yeah.
And we hate to make fun of it because, of course, the possibility exists. It could just be a couple of fans of the show who actually really enjoy it, and that may exist. I don't want to say that it wouldn't, because it certainly could, because there are fans of so many things. I mean, how many seasons does NCIS have? I'm just saying.
A lot.
I know.
Or like Law and Order.
Yeah, and I don't want to make fun of it because I enjoy some NCIS on occasion. It's good. It's good television comfort food.
It's good procedural stuff.
Yeah, it's the mac and cheese of the procedural shows.
Yeah, any of these shows, it's art, and art affects everybody differently. And
Correct.
And I think we all have like what I call like that guilty pleasure, and whether it's a book or a song or a movie or a TV show or a painting or a sculpture or whatever it is, there's always that one thing that universally everyone goes, oh my God, that's crap. And you are like, I really like that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And that's totally normal because art affects everybody differently. And so if you're loving this show and think that it's well written and it's well acted and enjoy it then, Be happy you found something you like, and screw what everyone else says. If you like it, like it.
Yes, absolutely. Don't let anyone else yuck your yum is what the kids are saying these days. See?
Is that what the kids are saying these days?
Yeah, at least I think so. I mean, I don't have kids. I'm not a kid.
Are they saying it on MySpace?
No, not anymore.
Is Tom saying it on MySpace?
No, I don't think Tom's saying much of anything. I mean, he's still your friend, but
he's still your friend.
But he's not saying anything. Not anymore.
That's right.
Oh my God, MySpace. Jeez Louise.
What was your song that would play when you went to your page?
I didn't do that. I didn't embed a song on mine because I thought it was ridiculous. Because it used to take forever. I cannot believe we're talking about this. Because it used to take forever for pages to load.
It was so great though.
Oh my God, it was awful.
Oh, it's so awesome. You can have your jam going like, yeah, that's right, baby.
No, because I don't know. There's no single song I think that really sort of defines me. I'm a bunch of guilty pleasure songs mushed into one is basically me.
I thought for sure you'd have Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush.
I mean, I could, but I didn't. Anyway.
All right, well.
All right, anyway. Anywho. So next up on the podcast, we are actually probably going to take a break for about a week or so, at least. Next up, in terms of scheduled podcasts that we know about right now, we did get a little news today. I'm so surprised they didn't say or do some kind of thing with Talking Dead last night.
Well, you didn't watch the whole thing. Maybe they did.
They didn't, because I checked to see if the release date changed today, and there was no information on it. But then when you texted me about it, it had just been released. So anyway, the point is, the anthology series is releasing on August 14th. So guess what, folks? You get a summer off.
About that.
I know.
So it's going to be 9 glorious weeks to cleanse your TV palate from this crap you've had to ingest here.
I appreciate that they are giving us a little space in between the two series. We really need some downtime. Now, when it comes to programming for us between now and August 14th, there's sort of a mishmash of days where I'm on vacation, Steve's on vacation. We're also going to the Living Dead weekend convention next weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah, this coming weekend. Oh my God, we leave in 3 days.
I know. What are you doing? Come on.
I don't know. We did ask ahead. We got people that were attending the convention seemed very excited by the idea. We will be bringing a recorder along and maybe getting some fan reactions, talking to some cosplayers, maybe see if we can get a little drop from Mr. Nicotero. We'll see what's going to happen.
See what happens.
Either way.
Perhaps a young Tony Todd will say hello.
But we will record all of those things and bring them back and then edit them down, and we'll probably do some type of short, reaction podcast on and talk about the weekend we had. We're very excited about it. Obviously, we've talked about it a bunch, going to Pittsburgh and all of that. But in terms of the podcast itself, once we're finished with that stuff, because of our schedules being kind of weird with vacations and days off and being gone here and there, and there's also some other conventions here in Chicago as well, we're thinking, and we talked about this previously, that we might pick a couple of movies to cover or a couple of other things to cover, and maybe we'll just sit down on a Saturday and record a few episodes in a row and then release them out. But once we still have to sort of talk it through. Once we figure out exactly what we're going to do, we will of course let you guys know, because we want you to give us feedback, let us know what you think. And we have heard some suggestions from people on things to cover. Not sure, based on the fact that we don't have time to do something week to week to week. We really kind of wanted to cover Station 11, but we just don't think that we could be able to meet every week and do a podcast on it and be able to get feedback from everybody. So doing something that's episodic probably won't fit in that timeline. But, maybe at another point we can cover that, because we both loved that series. So we're thinking it'd be more one-off reactionary, like, a movie or a single episode or a thing or something like that. We're not sure the shape of that just yet. We're working on it. And like I said, once we get a schedule, we will let you guys know.
Yep.
A couple of things we've watched recently. I don't know if you have. I watched the first 3 episodes of The Boys, dropped on Friday. And I watched them, and they were amazeballs. Did you watch them yet?
No, I have not. I had other stuff going on. I got this little trip coming up, and had a lot of stuff to try and get ready. So I did not try and cram more TV into my overcrowded cabinet just yet. So.
Okay. Amazeballs for the Boys. I hope you guys are watching it. What else do you have there? You watched something fun.
I did, actually. The movie of the week for me, and this is zombie related, is this movie came out last year, so it was most likely direct to streaming. I don't ever remember it in the theaters, but it was Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City. And Resident Evil is obviously the video game that from Capcom that is Mila Jovovich franchise. I think there are like 7 of them she ended up making.
Yep.
And we have not covered any of them yet. I kind of like the first one. The original one is okay. It's got Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez, and they're quite good in it. And it's a fun little zombie story. The rest of them just get more and more dumb and ridiculous, and not really watchable. So it goes downhill. But this is a kind of a different thing, and the reason I bring it up is Resident Evil is really the reason why we're all here right now. Being someone who remembers 1985 when Return of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead came out, literally after that until like 2002. Maybe there was nothing when it comes to the George Romero zombies, the cannibal zombies, in terms of new, fiction, new stories, new television shows, new movies. And I don't want to say there's nothing. There was here and there, but it was very, very inconsequential, nothing major, right? And it was kind of like The Wasteland. And then Resident Evil came out and kind of brought zombies back into the mainstream, and zombies became huge. And I know you remember that back in like I said, right around the 2000, right around that when that happened. Zombies were everywhere, and suddenly there were zombie costumes for Halloween, and sexy zombie and witch zombie and doctor zombie and all that kind of stuff, and it was all because of the popularity of the Resident Evil video games. And it was so popular that at one point for Resident Evil 2, Capcom hired George Romero to direct the commercial that they shot for it. Now, the commercial was only aired in Japan, but again, they, as a gimmick, they reached out to the guy that created the modern zombies and had him direct the commercial about the game about the modern zombie, So... And then, of course, Bob Kirkman comes out with the Walking Dead comic book a few years later, and, then the whole train starts rolling, and here we are. So anyway, Resident Evil is definitely a huge part of why zombies are as popular and in the mainstream as they are or have been for the last 11 years. Anyway, so this movie, it's not great. It's okay. It's got a really good cast. It's got Robbie Amell, who he plays Chris Redfield, which is one of the video game characters. He is Stephen Amell's little brother. Stephen Amell is Arrow from the CW DC comic book movies. It also has Donal Logue in it, who is great in everything he does. And Neil McDonough has a nice little appearance in there as well. And again, I liked it, but what I really thought was great, and this is just for the video game fans, is clearly these guys who did this have played the games, because when they do scenes in the Raccoon City Police Department, it is the police department from the video game, and that was really cool to see, like a real, maybe it was green screen, I don't know, but it was really cool to see what I thought was a real set that they constructed to look like that. And the same thing with the mansion from the original Resident Evil, and it sort of like takes you back to the beginning and kind of explains how all the zombie stuff escapes and gets out, and the outbreak starts. Anyway, it was fun. I liked it. If you're looking for it, I got it on from Netflix on the discs, because I still get the discs from Netflix. So I don't know what streaming service it's on. It is not available on Netflix, I know that yet, but it might be on a couple other ones. So check it out if you get a chance. I liked it. It was not very long, and it was fun. So
nice. All right. Well, quasi recommendation there, pretty much.
There you go.
All right. Well, anything else we need to discuss before we sort of wrap this up?
Just I would throw out to everybody that, again, we are going out to Pittsburgh, and it's going to be a Night of the Living Dead 90 cast reunion. There's going to be lots of Dawn of the Dead people there. There's going to be, of course, Greg Nicotero, who is involved in Creepshow, as well as all the Walking Dead shows. If anyone has any questions that they would like us to ask for you about any of those things, send them in. Send them in. You can send them in. We will be checking our social stuff, our Facebook and our emails and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have a question for Greg Nicotero that you really want to know about Creepshow, or maybe about, The Walking Dead or something, give it to us, and we'll see if we can ask him and see what he says.
Yeah, absolutely. Please, please, please do. We would love to connect you with them, if we possibly can, with your questions.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We're so excited. We leave in 3 days. Ah!
Ooh.
I know. Pretty exciting stuff. We're
going to go on the mall tour, and
I know.
That's going to be great. And
they're doing a screening of the 1990 film on Friday night with cast introductions, so they're going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be a zombie fest for the ages. So we're pretty excited.
And just a little spoiler, I believe there's a chance we're going to actually visit the Silence of the Lambs house, which would be fun to see. So, and there's a bunch of other locations in and around the Pittsburgh, Monroeville area where obviously a lot of George Romero movies were filmed, because that's where he's from, but just also other movies in general.
Yes.
And so that's going to be amazeballs.
Agreed. There's going to be a lot of amazeballs going on. We love to say. So we're looking forward to going. We're looking forward to talking about it with you guys. And again, if you've got questions, send them along. But that's going to do it for us this week. We look forward to chatting with you again soon. But until then, as always, I'm Diana.
And I'm Steve.
Don't forget to always aim for the head.
Because body shots just don't work.
To send us an email, write us at aimfortheheadpodcast@gmail.com. And our Twitter handle is @AFTH Podcast. Pictures and video are always welcome at our Instagram account, Aim for the Head Podcast, all one word. But the best way to keep in touch with us is to just like our Facebook page to get all of our updates in your feed.
I'm just making sure I got my character. Got to get into character for the opening here. So
yeah, it's totally different. This is Disclaimer Steve. Disclaimer Steve is different from Podcast Steve.
Hello. Yes, I'm ready for Shakespeare. Let's go.
Okay.